Show us what you got.
This week, the Marthythians watched 310 to Yuma, the modern remake, also a modern classic starring Russell Crowe and Christian Bale. They ate some Puritan Stew of 3 varieties, and they listened to the Cars' self-titled album, The Cars.
Hologram program activated.
Alright, so Aaron and I both had the Puritan product before now, but Mitchell's taking his first bite right now. It's got gravy and potato.
I was too lazy to buy it during the week.
Maybe a little bit of beef product.
It's cold again.
Oh.
You didn't heat it up nearly enough.
Oh.
But I don't feel like it wouldn't affect the taste anyway.
It doesn't.
It's pretty good.
It's dog food.
It is dog food. Mm-hmm. So there's Puritan makes 4 products apparently. Mm-hmm. They make the Irish stew. They make the beef stew, they make the meatball stew, and they make just meatballs and gravy.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know they made a meatball stew. So when we talked about trying all of the products, I went out and I bought the meatballs and gravy, and that's where I started. And I wanted to kill myself about...
Is it just meatballs? There's no, these potato chunks?
No, because that would make it a stew. It's just meatballs.
Straight up meatballs.
And the gravy is not... It's all of the stews I felt were pretty much the same base. The Irish stew had some red peppers and a little bit of extra seasoning. I didn't have the meatball stew, but the meatballs and gravy, the gravy was gray,
Mitch,
and the meat was pinkish gray.
I don't even know what this meat is.
Look at the shape of it. It's cubed.
No, it is. It's
cube-like.
They probably, what they did, I'm guessing, is they took
made a loaf.
The meat byproducts and made a loaf out of whatever chunks and scraps of meat that they wanted. They pressed it into a little cube, and then they put it in here.
Do you want to hear something that...
Just the meat by itself, without any potatoes.
Yeah, no, he's doing it. Just the meat.
I couldn't tell what kind of meat this is.
But it's beef-like.
It's beef-like.
Which is enough.
It's also kind of pork-like.
The meatballs in gravy, you can tell that it comes out in a tube that they just dice up, because it's like a little ring of 5 with one plunked in the center, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 of these rings stacked on top of each other, and it's the most ghastly thing that you've ever seen.
The meatballs are actually tubed?
Yeah, you can tell that it was piped out and diced.
It's almost like they just put the meat into the can as one piece of squished out meat. And then when it's set, they took a cutting device and sliced it.
Yeah.
Kind of like an apple
slicer,
cutter,
except it's also in layers. It's not long can-size long tubes, but it really decreased my will to live. And this was my product pick after we kind of joked about it last week, because when I was a kid, my mom worked a lot, so I don't remember. I shouldn't say that we didn't. I don't remember a lot of really we had Sunday dinners, we did weekend dinners, and I can remember being a young girl, and this was a big deal. It was also a big deal when spaghetti was more than just spaghetti in canned tomatoes. Not pasta sauce, but canned tomatoes.
Not canned SpaghettiOs?
We never had that.
This is the result of working parents. When both of your parents work, the Puritan happens.
Or you don't have both parents.
Puritan is kind of actually what it reminds me of, or what it makes me think of, is at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, when they figured out canning things. They're we know how to can things now. We can preserve it, and it's cheaper. And
But this shit wasn't cheap. I wouldn't buy that. I didn't think, not by my standards.
Wasn't the large can $2.50?
The ones that I bought were $3.20.
Yeah, still though. I mean, if you bought a can of Campbell's Chunky, it'd be half the size, and it'd be $5.
And I don't like Chunky. Something about the Chunky taste packaged to me, and this stuff just tastes like animal fat.
Yeah, and
which is more comforting.
And you can make, but not everyone wants to, but in a slow cooker, you can make a stew like this, a 7-quart slow cooker worth for probably $6.
And that's the thing,
pretty
right?
cheap.
Yeah.
But I understand, why this stuff caught on. You can preserve it for that length of time. You also have to consider, when they first started canning things too, refrigerators were a pretty new idea. It's not canning, maybe, actually, somebody looked this up on my computer. canning become available, and when did the refrigerator become available? Because the refrigerator is relatively new, and they've been canning shit forever. So it was a way to preserve things. So you could, you bought your disposable stuff, but your materials, but you had no way to refrigerate it and keep it. So, anyways, I think this stuff to me is like they started making it at sort of the dawn of packaging in like soups in cans, and never changed the recipe. They made it as cheap as possible for the cheapest market possible, and it's been the same for the last probably 100 years.
Yeah,
I didn't do any research.
It tastes exactly like I remember it from a kid, but it's a lot worse nowadays. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I would eat it and I had no qualms with it, but nowadays I'll eat it, and maybe it's because I've had better stew now. I don't know.
I think you become more picky as you get older. I still like Kraft Dinner and Pizza Pops, but I know a ton of people who won't touch either of them as adults. It's disgusting. I'll still love that stuff.
I'll still eat Kraft Dinner.
Refrigerator, separate freezers became common in the 40s. The introduction of Freon in the 20s expanded the refrigerator market into the 30s, providing a safer, lower toxicity alternative to previously used refrigerants. So I think we can comfortably say the 30s is when refrigeration really picked off.
Right.
And allegedly, it looks like canning has been going since the early 1800s.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference.
And speaking of refrigerators, they don't make them like they used to. I have a refrigerator. I have a refrigerator that is my beer fridge. That was my grandparents'. It is from 1962. It's not my main fridge, but it's still going.
Fridge.
It's a beer fridge, and it's still going. It's from the early 60s.
Yep.
How is that thing? There's no fridge that's built nowadays that would last
they're
like
all
50
electronic
years.
And they're plastic parts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, this
right?
thing's all metal.
That's the thing, though. They're made to break, so you've got to get new ones.
Yeah, you gotta buy a
Right.
new one.
We've got
Here's our shitty product.
a travel cooler from Coleman, and it's from the 70s, and it's heavy as shit. And I put frozen food in it when I camp. And we've got a plastic Coleman, it's all neat, it drains, it's got cup holder tops, but it's all plastic. It's half the weight and half as efficient. So I definitely echo older shit counts.
It was built to be able to be repaired. Like, get somebody in here.
It was built
repair
to
this.
do the job and keep doing the job.
Yeah.
And it is. I want to write Coleman a letter to say how much they've impacted my life. When I was like 6, I got this glow-in-the-dark Smarties sleeping bag, and it was like my life forever.
And it was a Coleman sleeping bag?
It was. And then for some reason...
It was your life forever, the sleeping bag.
No, it gets better. I did not have it for probably 15 years. And then one day my dad's like, oh, we've got a box of your stuff. Do you want it? Yeah, okay. In was the Coleman sleeping bag.
Oh, no way. Do you just open that up and you're like...
There it was.
Is it not too small? No?
Not for me, because I'm a small person. I can't put it up over my shoulders or anything, but we take it camping now so that I can use it as an extra layer, because I get, as soon as it goes dark, I turn into a fucking icicle. It doesn't glow in the dark really anymore, and it's all pilled out and stuff.
All of those old 80s, 90s chemicals have out of it into your body. That must be why you glow in the dark now. It just
makes
rubbed
sense.
off.
Just my bones.
They just used mercury or something to make it glow.
No wonder I had such a good time in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Coleman. Yeah, trust Coleman. Unless they I don't know.
Unless it's a new cooler?
Yeah, unless it's new. Their new stuff is shit. If you can find stuff from Coleman from the 80s and beyond, you're good.
That happens with so many brands. Like, they've built this brand starting in 1910, and it was so good all the way up until maybe the 80s and 90s, and then they started making it overseas and cutting corners, and now
saving a bit here.
Now it's a shell of what it formerly was.
That's the thing, is it's almost like we're going to save a bit here, and it doesn't really impact the quality, but then they save a bit here, and it doesn't really impact the quality, and it's so that it's all these cumulative changes, and then all of a sudden you have a shitty product, and you're like, well, yeah, I mean, it's as good as our last product.
That you didn't realize was shitty.
Almost.
But when you compare it against, the cumulative years of changes, it's just gotten shittier. And probably some of that consciously. Probably they're just going, we don't fucking care.
We're still making boatloads of money. We don't give a shit. Yeah.
People know our name, and they're going to keep buying our shit. And when this crap's out, they're going to buy more of our shit. Until you don't, right?
That's true.
Until you don't. Until someone just builds
So you go to MEC.
Quality. Yeah.
You get like a sleeping bag for half the size for twice as much.
Yeah, exactly. But it does better, I guess. Like I have this speaking of Coleman, I've got this old sleeping bag, and I can't find one. It's like, I'd call it a military sleeping bag, and it's kind of built that way. It's like almost canvas on the outside, and on the inside it's wool. You could say it's itchy, but whatever. I do fine with it. It weighs a fucking ton because it's super thick and filled with feathers, but super heavy. Like it's
like real feathers.
Yeah, and it weighs a ton. It weighs a ton.
I could see that. What weighs more, a ton of bricks or a ton of feathers?
They weigh the same, you jackass.
We have one of those big brown heavy-duty metal zipper 70s ones where it's like poop brown on the outside and like cream and orange and brown stripes on the inside, and we still take it camping. But I would be interested to find out if you can still get heavy-duty stuff like that, because like outdoor stores, it's all about, I think a lot of it is made for traveling. So you have stuff that's good to minus 40, but it also compresses down, to the size of one of the house cats.
Yeah.
Exactly, because it's made for hardcore living.
I love that big giant friggin' thing. I'd rather that.
I think that it's safe to say that you are a man of older taste.
I would say that about Aaron. Yeah.
Okay.
You and your old man cardigans and your...
When was the last time you saw me wear a cardigan?
And your
like
pipes.
2 weeks ago.
Was I wearing one?
Yeah.
Oh,
fairly
well,
recently.
There you go.
Yeah.
Pipes, not as much as I used to. When I was in high school, I did more of that stuff, but now I just wear whatever I've got. My clothes never change. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, these jeans aren't falling apart yet.
Yeah, but jeans never go out of style.
My wife applauded me for buying new Fruit of the Loom tidy whities the other day because she's like, you have to buy them more than once every 10 years. I don't know. I mean, the elastic still generally works.
Generally, it looks like it's all stretched out.
I get to a point where there are certain pairs that I will not wash, and that's my silent protest of those need to go. But, I think everyone has their favorite old pair of personal garments.
Yeah.
That you
can't let it go.
Oh,
No.
I don't have a favorite old pair.
You don't have a favorite old, not underwear specifically, but just a favorite old something.
ratty ass thing.
Ratty something that should
maybe,
probably
I
be
guess.
thrown in the garbage.
Yeah, I have some band t-shirts that I still wear that look, well, they are old. They're like
got
a
holes
decade
in the
old.
armpits.
Oh yeah, that's always the first way to go.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happens.
I think it's a friction place. It's just like how the thighs. I always wear out the thighs in my jeans because I got thunder thighs.
You wear out the thighs?
No, I totally
The friction's
totally
points.
understand what you're saying. That's why I
Right.
usually wear dresses.
I don't wear
Should get some
anything.
kilts.
Kilts. Oh, I could pull off. That I wouldn't
think
even have
you
to wear
could.
underwear.
Two birds at once.
Yeah, there we go.
So lots
Save
of people
some
were
money.
kilt in 310 to Yuma.
There was no kilts.
I don't even remember one kilt.
I don't
in
remember
thre-
one
in
kilt
310
either.
to Yuma.
Let me open
All
up my
kinds of
notes
people
for
were
this.
kilt. They, this movie is fucking good.
It was pretty fantastic. Actually, it was your second Western, Meg, that
In
ever,
life.
or that...
I thought the same thing when I
Yeah.
was watching it. I was like, where's Clint?
I know. Now, was this step up, down, sideways?
It was a step down until the last quarter. Like,
Yeah,
I've got
the
it.
last half hour. Yeah.
One of my notes
Really?
is interesting characters in a boring movie, and then it proceeded, and then I have amendments ends to that note. You have to watch the whole thing to really appreciate the ending. And ultimately, I was like, I still don't really understand why it ended the way it did, except for a punch up of the characters, and especially since Ben said he'd already escaped twice. You know, it's a non-issue by that point.
Yeah, the train meant nothing.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter that he was on there.
Oh
Yeah,
my god,
yeah.
my mind was blown by the ending of this movie. I'm glad that you weren't there to watch it with me, because it would have gone as you'd expect. Because I think that we all generally think that the other people aren't going to like the things that we pick, which is a good place to be. And I didn't. And I was like, man, I'm just going to fuck this movie up. And then when it ended, I just stood up and I put my hands on my head and I screamed and I screamed. And Chris is like, oh my god, what's wrong? The fucking movie is good. Oh my god, this is fantastic. It's like,
Damn it, it's good.
that was exactly how I felt. You know, it's like in a cartoon when they've got the long trail of gunpowder leading
Yeah.
up to like the big fireworks pile, and you
Yeah.
just have to fucking wait for that stupid coyote to walk into the fireworks pile to be like, oh, is that the fucking Roadrunner?
It was written, that's I think what I loved about it was because they did modernize it a lot, but it definitely still felt like an old Western.
Because it was that slow burn.
And that's the way you got to do it with Westerns. Like, I know people who liked Young Guns, and then there were a couple other, like, hip Westerns that came out in the early 2000s and late 90s and stuff, and they were all pretty shitty. Like, Westerns had
Were they actually?
kind of gone over Westerns had kind of gone over a cliff at that point. And there have been very few Westerns done. Like, you're lucky if you get one a year these days. And
I didn't know this was a Western when it was first introduced. I thought it was more of a war movie. I didn't realize it was a Western.
yeah, I mean, I think people like that classic Western. They like that slow. When you're watching a Western, you want it to be a little bit slower. But I mean, we're going to go through a lot here, I think. But I love this movie. To me, this is one of the best.
I read that the
Westerns I've
original was a lot. It didn't have that almost climax in the end, that last 25 minutes of just
kind of
straight up.
ends.
I haven't never seen the original one, but I know it's a classic, but a lot of people say that this one really punched it up with the ending and just made it almost more exciting, the ending more exciting. And it did really good justice to the original one, just in a sense.
Well, they still have a writing credit to the original writer of the original film. And the original film is actually, I believe, based off of a book. It's not just a original film.
He also, Elmore Leonard, who wrote the original book, also wrote the book for Get Shorty. He also wrote the book for Jackie Brown, the Tarantino movie, and he also wrote the book that they based Justified, the TV show, on.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So
I didn't know that last
there's a lot of writing credits to his name.
Yeah, pretty fantastic. I know what you're saying, I guess, a little bit in terms of slowness, but it's all character building, and that's what I love about it. Like, first, I mean, we're going to talk about Ben Foster a lot here.
Who?
Yeah, Ben Foster is Charlie Prince.
Foss Bester? What were you calling him?
Bester.
I
We gotta talk about Foss Bester.
I realized too far, like probably 2/3 of the way into my notes, that I had been saying Ben, referring to Ben Foster, because I missed what his character's name was.
Charlie.
And then Ben, referring to Ben Wade.
Yeah.
So then I had to go back and amend all of my notes again to be like, okay,
Ben.
Right.
what did this mean again?
I mean, he's just so cool right from the get-go.
He is, let's see here. Ben Foster, no, that's Mushmouth. Ben Foster, introduction, is the bad guy response you always hope for. Gets made fun of, belly shot. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Right off the bat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
But his style, like when you watch him, like I've seen this movie a lot, just so you know. But when you watch him, after they go through the whole thing at the beginning and turn over the what do you call it, the stagecoach?
Yeah.
He pulls up on his horse, and just the way he dismounts the horse with like perfect, flawless style is awesome. Like, seriously, you have to watch it. You have to watch Ben Foster in this movie, because
did you watch this movie for anyone except Ben? Did you watch any characters?
Back then I wasn't a huge I shouldn't say that. I did watch Flash Forward, so I liked Ben Foster from the get-go. But when I watched this movie, it wasn't my
It wasn't a Ben Foster
adoration.
vehicle?
My adoration for Ben Foster hadn't reached where it is today.
But I must say, Ben Foster, being the fantastic actor that he is, and we've credited him as on many good roles in the past, and saying that he stole the show. I don't know this
Yeah, he did.
time.
Really?
I don't think he stole the show. I thought he was an integral part of the show. But Russell Crowe in this movie, come on.
He is very, very good.
That wonky
Yeah.
eye makes it.
Christian Bale almost is the one who's off.
I think he's third after the two. Yeah.
I found some of the scenes with Christian Bale where they were more resigned. I felt those ones were stronger because he's got such a terse presence.
Right.
I felt like there were some things like when he and his wife are having that fight and they're just whispering. I was not really engaged in the movie up until that point, and I stopped. Like I put my phone down because that's where I'd been writing my notes this time. I was out of envelopes, so I had to write it on my phone, and I was engaged because I could feel the atmosphere of them there.
It's good that you point that out, actually, because I don't want to diminish Christian Bale in the film at all. He's very good
Because is
in
he
the
not
film.
method to a certain degree as well?
Yeah, I think he is. But he in this movie, I thought I would like him more. On paper, I like him more because I like that he's so principled. I like that he's so strongly principled. I identify with his need to
Take things seriously?
and teach his boys the right way to do things. And
Oh, you mean the character, not specifically Christian Bale?
no, not Christian Bale
sorry.
specifically.
My
the
bad.
character.
And his son was such an asshole.
I kept waiting
Yeah.
for that kid to fight him.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for it.
I don't know what it is. Like his son reminds me of the son in The Patriot that gets shot. He's like the second son. There's Heath Ledger, and then there's the second oldest. And he's like, "But Dad, I'm almost 16. Let me go fight in the war." And
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna do that movie. I fucking love that movie. Anyways, he gets shot, and you're kind of like, "Oh, okay, yeah, good.
You had that
That's
coming.
not so bad." And then Mel Gibson goes and like hacks a bunch of people up with a hatchet while he gets his like 6 and 8 year olds to shoot them to save his other son after his like brain disconnects. That
Now we don't
whole
even need to
scene.
watch the
Yep.
movie.
Yeah, you do.
We've just
Yeah,
discussed
you do.
it.
Anyways, Ben Foster's performance. Christian Bale was good, but Bren
Now he's
Brent
Bren.
Fraser.
Foster.
Well, it's funny
So
you should
good.
say it that way because I actually, my second note after Ben, his reveal of being a hard ass, is he getting a little mush mouth? Because I feel like in an effort to be a grizzled cowboy, he just wasn't talking very much, and it made me feel like I'm watching Ben Foster dance the same dance in different costumes. I felt like he
His
had
teeth were really bad in this, but that was part
that's
of the
different. You
character.
have
He's so
to be, yeah.
dark
Yeah.
though, and then
But that's the thing,
remember when
a
they-
dark and intense person, I feel like in the last few movies we've watched him in, that has been his business. He's intense. He was intense and resigned in the movie The Slow Burn that was not quite a Western.
Them
that was
Body
harmless.
Saints.
Yeah, he was
Body Saints.
intense but resigned in that one.
But he was very calm in that one.
That's what I just said.
Sweet.
And he was intense and suspenseful in the space one in Pandorum.
Yeah.
Pandorum.
So I would, and
Plays
even
that very well, and that might be because it's partly who he is. But I would argue, if you look at almost everyone who people consider to be a great actor, with some
when you become so identifiable,
even method actors, they're so good because they're almost playing themselves all the time.
I'd
So
like to compare my
there's
left foot
tweaks.
to Lincoln then. Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis is great.
He's a method actor.
But he still is Daniel Day-Lewis when I watch him. Like, he still is. There's a difference, right? So Brad Pitt is a shitty actor, and if he tries to play something that he's not, it really shows through. Like,
Yeah, Louis
watch
is
California, watch Troy.
I was gonna say, but he's Achilles.
Oh,
he just
he's
grew
so
out his
fucking
hair. That's
bad.
all he
No,
needs.
the whole movie Troy is awful,
Yeah, it's just
except
an
for the
awful-
butts.
Anybody who disagrees has got their head
Troy
so far
is
up
a
their
modern
ass.
masterpiece.
That's retarded.
Just kidding. I
We're
don't like
talking
it.
to a retard here.
Don't say it like that.
I didn't hate it as much as you guys did, but
It's bad.
Troy?
Anyways,
I find Troy impossible to sit through. I watch it once every couple years just to remind myself I don't like it. Like after the very entrance, where I think it's in the beginning of the movie, and they use that one scene in the trailer a lot, where
he
Brad Pitt jumps up
yeah,
and stabs
yeah,
the guy. I feel
jump
like
scene.
that was a catalyst for that, and almost The Matrix were a catalyst for a lot of
super slow-mo.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
So anyways, Brad Pitt plays himself, and when he just plays Brad Pitt, you love him. When he tries to play something else, he sucks. Right? I think for guys like Daniel Day-Lewis and Ben Foster and Christian Bale and Russell Crowe, you're going to be really hard-pressed to find a bad performance because they're still more or less playing themselves. They're tweaking things here and there. They're giving you a little bit of a glimmer. They're giving you a little bit of a twist, so enough that it makes it a unique character, but they still essentially are playing themselves. I mean, I don't know, with I think the things that I love about Ben Foster in this movie, I mean, there's a lot of them, but for example, when they go into the town, after they ambush the wagon and they all go into town, and he goes to get them out of the bar, and he walks around the corner,
And he throws
in the
on that
space of
poncho?
about 10 seconds, he pops his hat out,
Yeah.
he throws on the poncho,
His posture changes.
his posture changes,
His face.
face changes,
Yeah.
he becomes something else. He's acting as the character, like as Charlie Prince is acting,
And you can
Charlie
see
Prince
that.
is still a fucking good actor.
I think that
And
you
then
have to
the
have a
little
man
grin,
to do that.
The little grin at the end, he's like, what is he? He's like, I can't remember what he says, but then he just flashes this quick little like dumb yokel grin, and it's perfect.
Oh, when they asked him where he's from.
Yeah.
They brought us all in they got the
help,
Mexicans coming
right.
up.
Yeah. And then he just flashes that quick grin. It's those details that guy's able to do. Like just those little eye ticks, just those little tiny, I'll call them
And you're
micro expressions.
And
That
you're
guy
going to
is
give all of the credit to
perfect
Ben
on that.
Foster for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who would you give it to?
Maybe it's a director note.
But in every movie, because he's that good in every movie. He's good at those twitches. He's good at those minimalist things.
I yield to you being the Fossbender expert.
As dark a
we'll
character
get further on
as
with that.
Ben Foster played, I thought that Ben Wade was a darker character probably up until the very, very end.
Really?
And I just want to love him.
Through the entire movie, he was the craziest, most psychotic person in such a calm shell.
That's the
It
thing,
was
right?
so
Felt that
terrifying.
way.
It was because the little things he would do when he strangles that guy in the night.
Yeah,
when he's woken up and he's so calm, he's like, "Would you mind not doing that, please?" And the guy just like sasses him back, and then the next scene is just him like
I
strangling
thought he was
him.
beating him with. He beat him with a rock.
No.
Oh.
Is that a second guy?
You're talking about the
he's stabbing him with
You're
a
talking about
pointy
the
rock.
guy Kevin Durant played when he's stabbing him with a fork.
Yeah.
in
When
the
I
neck.
saw Kevin Durant, that was the first highlight of the
He's
movie.
so good.
Are you
Yeah.
watching The Strain?
No, is he in that?
Yes.
I love him in everything.
He plays
He's
like.
a weird looking guy.
But in my only experience with Kevin Durant has been in The Strain. It's a televised adaptation of Guillermo del Toro, and I think it's a comic graphic novel. It's two complete seasons, very, very good. And he plays, I think he's Ukrainian, a Ukrainian American rat catcher who becomes very invested in the posse with Dr. Ephraim, who is doing all of this shit. And he slays these motherfuckers with a crowbar, and it's not until like 5 episodes into the second season that he gets in a pool butt naked, and I rewound it twice. And there's another scene where he clotheslines this motherfucker in a...
Just so everyone's lit, I'm not watching it for
No.
naked
Sure,
You should,
you're
though.
not.
I'm watching Kevin Durant for his
No, but it's-
just naked butt cheeks Kevin Durant. I'm not interested in the rest.
But when you do watch it, and I advise that you do, try
That
to
butt.
watch 310 to Yuma again and not hear it in a Ukrainian accent because it sounds like I don't know if it's because I only know him from this role because I see that he's obviously been in a bunch of other things.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's so good, but he never gets like major roles.
You don't realize I think that he kind of helps make the ensembles come together. You know, if you do your job well, no one knows you've done it at all, and supporting characters are like that.
And why was Luke Wilson in this movie?
I love that. He's just there, and you're like, wait a minute. When I saw it in the theaters, I was like, is that Luke Wilson? And he was big back then too. Like he was still co-starring and headlining in movies.
Just randomly, Luke Wilson out of nowhere.
Just why?
And he's such an asshole character in this movie too.
A huge asshole.
Alan Tudyk, that was fucking exciting.
Oh yeah, he was.
And he died again.
Tudyk? Tudyk.
I have it written down as a Tyduk.
There is a Y in
the Y
there.
and the U backwards.
Yeah.
Tudyk.
But I was having some serious.
I knew it was Wash. Why do you think I was so fucking upset?
I was having some Serenity flashbacks when he died in this.
I get so
but we don't like it so much.
Yeah.
Do we just want to have a big blowjob fest about it?
I would suck Serenity's dick again.
All right. I just watched it.
I'm married. I can't say anything more than I like Kevin Durant's butt.
Back to Kevin Durant. He was in a movie called The Captive with Ryan Reynolds and Scott Speedman. Yeah,
got nice shoulders.
Meg's in a place right now.
It's got a sweet ass bicep tattoo.
The Captive has a really sexy cast. Scott Speedman and Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Durant. You should watch
I don't actually like Ryan Reynolds that much. I didn't even like his 3D dick in Deadpool.
No.
Oh yeah.
And I was watching for it.
And I was
I totally was. With a movie like Deadpool, they would be stupid to not put a 3D skinless dick in there.
I just said that because I know a lot of women do dig him. But anyways,
I don't understand
Kevin Durant in this movie, he's dressed up like an old man, like he's gray-haired and he's skinny.
In The Captive?
Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, is that... I had to look it up because I didn't really recognize him. Like, he looks entirely different, which was pretty impressive because I'd never really seen him look like that at all. It was very surprising.
I liked Peter Fonda in this movie, but his death, I didn't like his death because it seemed anticlimactic to me.
I thought it was
to
fitting
just
for
toss him off a cliff like that. Come on, he was this old badass guy who doesn't give a shit about anybody, and you just toss him off a cliff.
But on one hand, you think of him as badass, and then on the other hand, you're like, he's almost a bigger asshole than the rest of them. Like, he just has no... Remember when they're sitting at the table and he's like, so-and-so over here, he's killed women and children. He's like, I didn't kill anyone that didn't deserve it. He didn't even refute that.
When they're talking about killing the Apaches and all the... Yeah.
Like, that guy's done some really fucked up shit. He didn't just kill dudes protecting a stagecoach. He's like...
That's true.
He's like done terrible things to innocents. That to me makes him almost a character where I'm like, yeah, throw him off a cliff.
That's true. No, but whatever. When he gets like shot in the stomach in the beginning and he's just like, well, get it over with then.
Like how Alan Tudyk is a vet.
What was that? What kind of a doctor he was?
Yeah, he's a veterinarian.
Yeah, because remember when that one line he says, it's nice to have a conversation with my patients for once.
Yeah. I thought that meant he was a mortician.
No, he's a veterinarian.
Oh. See, I was so wrapped up in it being Wash that I was just like, Wash, what are you doing?
He's
Get back in
horses
that spaceship.
and stuff.
Get in
He looks good. He looks good in that mustache. Hey?
He does.
No, I think he.
I missed the Hawaiian shirt and the dinosaurs.
I have some friends. Have you ever seen what was that movie where Dodgeball? I just answered it because I was about to say if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. And that tells me what the movie's title is.
You got it.
What was that movie?
It's all about balls and you gotta dodge them. Oh,
do you know that Alan Tudyk is in that movie?
No.
Yeah, he plays the pirate.
He's the pirate.
Yar.
He's going to get his treasure. And I have people, like friends who like the movie Dodgeball, but hate the pirate character.
No.
I'm like, no,
you can't.
With a face
it's Alan
like
Tudyk.
that,
You can't hate him.
You feel so bad for him when they make fun of him for being a pirate, and he's just like, that's his favorite thing.
And then he tells a story about why he's a pirate.
Yeah.
Why is he a pirate?
I can't remember, but it touched my feels.
It was very touching.
Obviously, it wasn't.
touching.
It touched my feels. Charlie Prince is like Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday in Tombstone.
Ooh, that's...
I would equate those performances, and that's saying a lot.
Well, Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer, was one of the best Western characters ever.
Think about their costumes, right? Charlie Prince has that wicked,
The jacket was ballin'.
double-breasted, like white, what would you call that? Was that like...
leather.
Was it leather?
It looked like it.
It reminded me of like a Confederate jacket.
Yeah.
It must have been modeled after that. And then Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday has that, like those paisley print, bright colored vests. Both of them had just these awesomely
Iconic
stylish costumes. And I don't know, Charlie I think is more evil. I don't know if I agree with that.
I think that he's outwardly evil. When you see Charlie, you know, oh shit, that's a bad dude. But Ben Wade, on the other hand, he is a civilized monster.
Right.
So he knows how to play in polite society.
He can quote his Bible.
Exactly.
And which made no sense.
And he can draw.
Yeah.
And he can draw very well. Why did it make no sense?
Because the contrast between him making Bible quotes and then when they go to eat at the table and they're like, we usually say grace first, and he's like, I don't give a shit, and he's just eating, and then it kind of makes sense when he said that his mom left him at the train station and he read the entire Bible. He didn't really say he was religious, just that he read the entire Bible. That was what he had. So
and he's obviously a genius because nobody reads the entire Bible and remembers verbatim.
Right.
Civilized
many
monster.
Verses.
Yeah, he was crazy.
He must have been a genius and insanely intelligent.
And he was going to ditch his entire gang. I realized that on this walkthrough too, or on this watch through. I didn't realize that before. That was the entire reason he kind of got himself caught, I guess, in a sense, that his plan was just to ditch his gang and go to Mexico the whole time possibly with that girl that he met in the bar.
I think he tried to get her to go.
He mentioned it, and then she lauged, and then you could see the pain in his face.
Right.
And that's kind of a
the
turn.
sadness.
Yeah.
I felt that this movie was brutal, dictionary-wise, on all terms. Like, when it comes to the dimensions of something, it's got all of the terms of conflict that you would require. And again, they're literary terms. You've got man versus man, Ovs. You've got man versus nature. I felt that was Dan, the river being dammed by the guy who's still owned, because back then you owned the water. If it was reservoired on your land, and the cow's doing poorly. Man versus himself. That was the biggest one. You've got Dan and his kids disrespecting him, and his wife.
He's got something
neutral.
to prove. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Obviously Ben Wade and himself, because that turns out totally different. And even Dan at the end, whether or not he's gonna let Ben go. I found the more that I kind of looked for that stuff, and I felt after a while that I was just so unhappy with the movie that I had to start looking for things that were interesting to kind of engage me a bit more, because it was just, even the color palettes were all so neutral. It didn't have enough to engage me till I started watching it in a different frame. But I'm glad that I did, because obviously if you stick with it, the ending is huge. The end payoff is fantastic. I got chills at the end when Charlie sees the hand of God on Luke Wilson's hip, and I thought something bigger was going to happen than what did.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. I felt like Charlie always... And it's funny, because this is kind of going to conflict with what I said about Ben, about him, when you see Charlie, you know trouble's coming because he's just got that aura of danger around him. Yeah. But you've got the sinister gentleman in Ben Wade. But, what was I going to say?
The hand of God, though, that's another reference to his possible Bible reading. I don't know. It's such an interesting character.
Charlie, back to the color palette. That's kind of what I like. I mean, and maybe because I watched a lot of old westerns.
It's got to be a western thing too.
Because that's the West. There wasn't a whole lot of color. It's
a throwback.
Yeah, hard scrabble pioneers. Your clothes were black and brown. It's almost like, there's a biblical reference, but the color purple is like royal, a royal color, because it was so expensive to get and produce that color as a dye. It's almost like that in the Old West. Like, you got to pay for those threads, you got to pay for those colors. Nobody's got money. They're pioneering.
Hookers got money.
But I think that they would need to make themselves look that way, right?
Yeah.
Did either of you guys notice? And I don't know if it just popped out to me because I had been so engaged at the end, but when the train pulls away and there's the snowy mountains and the snow on the ground.
There was so much snow near this town. This what was it called again? Contention?
Yep. Not in town,
or
but
around
away from it,
around town.
And I really felt like that was a contrast because everything had been, when the movie is going, it's all tense and it's so dusty and it's so desperate and it's so dried out and everyone is suffering in all capacities. And then the train pulls away after everyone is dead, more or less, after all of the conflict is resolved, and you've got this fresh, new start.
Clean
somewhat.
snow.
What a name for a town, Contention.
That's a real town, by the way.
Just to burst your bubble. I like that, and that's a really good way to look at it. But just to burst your bubble,
Why you gotta
I
burst
watched the
bubbles?
making of.
They got all that
basically
fucking snow.
cleaned up the town.
Yeah, I read
when
that too.
snow came.
I was gonna let it go.
They
though, 'cause
cleaned
I'm
up
not
the
a dick
town?
bag.
No, yeah.
It's snow.
Actually, the making of is awesome to watch because you're talking about a movie that's not CGI driven. Like it is.
Yeah.
This is an old school practical movie. They built sets. They
didn't
that
even finish
stagecoach.
building.
They built that stagecoach and they fucked it up. And they basically had to fuck it up in the right way with one shot.
Yeah.
Like it was the way they made this movie is the right way to make a movie. Fuck this CGI.
I feel like you'd have to do that if you have characters of that caliber in there. If you've got Ben Foster, who's method. If you've got Christian Bale, who's fucking tight ass.
Right.
If you've got Russell Crowe, who...
Russell Crowe's good though. I mean, Russell Crowe's not bad.
No, I don't mean as an actor, but I don't know. I haven't heard that he is as hardcore into the craft as it sounds like Ben and Christian are.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Could be. Could be.
Not to say that it's just a paycheck, because the trivia that I read,
No.
he actively sought the role. I don't think this movie would have worked with Tom Cruise and Eric Bana.
I heard about
No.
that. Yeah.
Who can take Tom Cruise seriously?
I like Eric Bana, and I think Eric Bana gets short stick. Yeah, because if you watch his more artistic stuff, his more independent stuff, he really is phenomenal. And I've always really liked Eric Bana, but I don't know, it's like he did the Hulk and that flopped.
And that's all that people think?
Well, and then he was in Troy, but
Was
he was. Yeah, but
I feel like I watched him in something else.
he just hasn't been able to get any major roles. Like he kind of rose to the scene. People knew his name, but then he wasn't really able to break
He
through.
didn't stick.
Didn't he do a boxing one that was just fantastic? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Eric Bana?
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of
Are
somebody.
you thinking of Russell Crowe in Cinderella Man?
No. I'm
was
thinking of
actually a good
somebody
movie,
else.
though.
No.
Yeah, it was.
Wait. Oh, yeah. No, I was.
Butterfield. Let's talk about Butterfield.
That stash. What a
That
pussy.
guy is the biggest shit eater ever, and he does that so perfectly. That's the thing about this movie in general. I was writing down these notes about each character, and then I'm just going, you know what? They cast this movie perfectly.
Do you think they told him to grow that mustache, or he just did it?
Or it was applied.
Applied. You think it was fake?
I wanted to say it was an applique. I've only ever seen Jeff
he's grown
Martin
it.
from the Tea Party have a stash that looked like that.
I think he grew it. But yeah, I mean, the casting was just unbelievable. Oh, back to Ben Foster's style.
Of course.
When they go into town, just after he announces to everyone that the stagecoach, whatever, and then Ben Wade comes through the door, and Charlie Prince times it perfectly to walk through that space as the door swings out, and then he's through, and then it swings back behind him. Like,
They timed that just right.
just perfectly. And I'm like, man, that's the guy.
It has to be
That's the
because
guy.
he's like Ben's shadow.
Yeah, and he was so vulnerable and so lost without him. He was like a lost puppy dog.
Yeah, he's like when they all separate, and he's like, I'm going to Mexico. I'll wait for you.
I'll wait for you, Ben.
I'll wait for you, Ben. It was a little bit. I was like,
bit
he was. Yeah, he was so loyal to Ben.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
He almost
Look where it
killed
got
that.
him.
Yeah, he almost killed that guy when he suggested leaving Ben behind. He just threw him to the ground. He's like, "You forget what he's done for us." Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like when they killed the guy at the beginning, who I guess double kind of sold them out a little bit. You must have made a mistake because you said all the Pinkertons were gone, and now you wouldn't lie, would you? And he must have, obviously, because they. I don't remember it well enough to.
Is that the guy he shot when he was holding the guy hostage?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he looked at him and he's like, "Oh shit!" Because
Yeah.
he knows what's coming.
Yeah, because obviously, if the guy who the Pinkerton was holding was if the gang member the Pinkerton was holding,
No, the gang member was holding the. Oh no, you're right. You're right. The Pinkerton was holding.
and he
him,
said that then the gang member who was
Yeah.
getting held said it was clear, and then if that was a setup between the gang member and the Pinkerton, then obviously, like I just said, it was a setup, and that's why the guy had to get fucking knocked.
Yeah. That's why he had to get.
That was hard for me to get out.
because he fucked up. He should have known.
How'd you feel about the soundtrack, Mike?
Of what?
The movie.
It had music?
Should it have been the Cars?
Yes.
No, the soundtrack was so good.
No, that didn't.
You didn't hear the soundtrack?
It's not what I took away.
Oh,
I think it was
thought so good.
it was subtle enough to be perfect.
Weird. They were using
Atmospheric?
using like gongs and stuff, like just this kind of like really quiet, atmosphere.
No, I don't remember that. When I think
It gave me
of
a
what I
good,
watched.
bad, and the ugly feel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, I'm closing my eyes right now and I'm thinking about the scenes that stand out to me the most, and all I see is like gray figures in sand. Like sandy color, not like actual sand, but everyone's in tan.
They were wearing
They're
black.
tan and they're sweaty and they're bloody and they're dirty.
Yeah.
It's grimy, like
gritty.
It is. It really, really is, and I like that. And I like how real it was. And I guess no one's going to be running around looking picture perfect in a movie like that. That's not what Oscar movies are like.
Right, Christian Bale's ugly.
He is pretty ugly in the movie.
He's just ugly in general.
Yeah,
every time,
have you ever seen The Machinist? That's
he
ugly.
opens his
He
mouth,
gets down to like 80 pounds.
And that's why I wondered if how to what degree of method he was.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's actual method or whether he's just extremely committed.
Yeah, I
Because-
think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know that he like becomes his character, but I've heard some of his rants on set. Like, have you ever heard those?
Yeah,
He's losing his shit.
what was the
Russell
one-
Crowe's done that kind of stuff too. They're just guys who are, unbelievably committed to their craft.
I think that Christian Bale may be more legitimately committed to the craft than Russell Crowe may be a little unstable.
Yeah, it could be. He's
I heard
Australian.
that one time he
I know
hooked up
some
with
of them.
Dita Von Teese, and that makes me really interested and afraid.
Wow.
Who did?
Russell Crowe.
Oh, not Ben. I just want to talk about Ben.
I can tell.
When that's the thing. When he opens his mouth, what the fuck is his name now?
Who?
Charlie?
Charlie Prince?
No, the other actor, Christian Bale.
Oh.
He's got always that, like, I don't know, that vein popping out on his eye, like every time he opens his mouth, and you can see just that he's got some weird shaped palate. It's almost like his back teeth go inward or something. Like maybe he's got a ring of teeth around his mouth. I don't know. I just find him so ugly. I just do. Christian Bale.
His American accent, him and Russell Crowe both, actually, they did a pretty good American accent in this movie, and you can't
Christian
really
Bale
tell.
is American.
No, he's not. He's British.
Is he?
Surprise.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Bullshit. Really?
Let me Google that and confirm it.
I've never seen him ever do anything.
Yeah.
Even in interviews, I thought he was doing.
No, you looked that up. Maybe not British, but definitely not American.
I think you're pulling my leg.
Christian Bale is an English actor.
English actor.
From
Straight up.
Haverford, United Kingdom.
I know,
Okay.
and that's what I mean. He does it so well in most of his movies that you can't even tell that he doesn't have an American accent.
Yeah.
He has starred
I had
in
no
both
idea.
blockbuster films and smaller projects from independent producers and art houses.
Well, there you go. I was down here before. Maybe not.
It makes it easier on the feet. It's very cold.
Oh, I see what's going on now.
I don't mind you coming here and
wasting all my time.
Cause when you're standing oh so near, I gotta lose my mind, yeah. It's not the perfume that you wear, it's not the ribbons in your hair. I don't mind you coming here and wasting all my time.
I thought we were gonna do the solo.
I need someone to bleed. I guess you just wouldn't need it. I needed someone to bleed.
So bleed me down.
Well, I think that's the perfect segue into the second part of the show.
So
I
this,
loved the album.
have you? I grew up listening to this album. Like,
Yeah.
this is one of the albums that I listened to as a kid.
This whole it's an album of singles.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize I was picking one of your nostalgic childhood albums.
Yeah, you know, Tom Petty, Neil Young, The Cars. Yeah, my dad, I think, was really good at giving me the classic album, the good classic albums, not like Trooper and shit like that, but the good classic albums that truly will go down as classics.
Like the whole front end of this album, like if it was a record, if it was a vinyl, almost the whole of side A is still played on commercial radio.
It's like the Cars' greatest hits.
It
like
is without it even. Isn't it?
Right?
Is it not the debut?
It is. It's their first album, and that's funny because we would always talk about how bands could kind of grow. Their first album might not have been their best, and this is like almost all of the Cars' greatest hits on one album.
I didn't realize they actually are I assume the original formers of one of my favorite songs that I know as a cover, Dangerous Type.
I don't know if that wasn't on this album.
No, it's not. It's not. But when I was looking up this record, that single came up.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I know a song by that name. And I played it and I was like, oh, shit.
It's the same song.
Oh, my God. Just as good as the one that I'm familiar with. Just as atmospheric.
Who does the cover?
I don't remember.
Oh.
I think the whole, I mean, is there one song on this album that's not good?
No.
They're all good.
And they all have so many varying feels and sounds and mixtures of instruments. Like near the back end, I don't remember which song it was. Let me pull up a track list. There's a part where there's this like redonkulous synth solo, and I had to stop and be like, when did this thing come out? What decade is this?
They almost pioneered that like synthy.
They were. I think it's interesting because the Cars are considered new wave.
New wave-ish?
No, they're considered new wave.
A band that emerged from the new wave scene in the late 70s.
Yeah. Like they are one of the pioneers of new wave.
I was going to say, yeah.
But what I love about that and what I think is interesting about that is that they pioneered new wave and they're considered new wave, but unlike new wave bands that followed, they're actually still a band.
And they're not
just a synth whiny 80s new wave band. And there are a few of them, but I think some of them kind of get discounted or forgotten just because generally I think a lot of people, when you say new wave, they're like, ugh, I don't want to listen to Tears for Fears or Flock of Seagulls, you know? But Simple Minds and the Cars, there are a couple of them that are considered new wave that you almost wouldn't think...
Should be.
You'd think they're just a rock band, right? But they are new wave bands, and they do have some excellent tracks. Like, I think Simple Minds is a very underrated one. Talking Heads, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah, they're one of the best.
But they straddle the line between, like, sort of avant-garde and punk and new wave and rock. Like, the Talking Heads are
I knew it was going to get into the Talking Heads as soon as I picked a late 70s early.
No, I want to focus on the Cars because I would put the Cars on that level. Like,
you hear these
Rick
classic
Ocasek
songs.
is just his voice.
Oh, I thought it was Ocasek.
Ocasek.
I didn't realize they were American. With a tone like that?
Ocasek.
Okay.
So, Rick.
We can agree to disagree.
Reek Ocasek.
Reek
Ocasek.
How sure are you about that?
I'm pretty much positive.
Okay, anyway.
If you happen to be listening and you have an issue with how we're pronouncing or mispronouncing your name, please feel free to contact us through Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on various social media platforms, and we would love to hear from you.
Speaking of, this has been brought up by, we had a response from a band member from As Cities Burn.
See, we should have opened with this. This is an exciting story for us.
So the drummer, Aaron Lunsford from As Cities Burn.
What episode was that? 7, 8, 9?
8. Listen to episode 8.
So that's almost half the catalog.
Right. So he is, he's also an author. Pick up his book because it's fucking good. But basically,
What's it called? Do you know?
it's got a weird long title, like How I Almost... I'd have to look it up. Look up Aaron Lunsford book, and he's got a really great blog as well. So read his stuff. He's a good author. Anyways, Aaron contacted me on Twitter and listened to an episode and enjoyed it. Enjoyed it. Had some input, but he really liked the podcast. He said it's very nuanced and whatever else. But so we appreciate that, Mr. Lunsford.
Thank you so much for not sending us flames.
He did correct us, however, on the pronunciation of Josh Scogin, whose album we did, The Chariot, was at a week or two back.
Last week.
We did that last week. It's not pronounced Josh Scogin. It is pronounced Scoggin. So we've got
How many G's are there?
We've got one G.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we've got an entire episode, and I referenced him in episode 8. So, Josh, if you're listening, I will apologies, and it's Scoggin from here on out. I get it all the time because I'm Klassen, not Clausen. So I get it. I'm sorry.
Boy, is there egg on my face for that one.
And sperm.
The book is How I Almost Got Rich Playing Drums in a Christian Hardcore Band, by the way.
Yeah.
That's not that many words.
How I Got Rich Playing Drums in a Christian Hardcore Band.
That's less words than half the titles on the Chariot's record.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's true. They have whole paragraph titles. So good times roll. Let the good times roll. So good.
Sorry, I'm listening to them introduce themselves so I can settle this argument.
Rick Ocasek.
We're both wrong.
I said Ocasek.
I said
like
Ocasek.
John Kasich, the presidential
Is he the dad?
No. No, Rick
Okasek?
Okasek.
Would you like me to make a supercut of all the different wrong ways you guys have been saying this guy's last name?
Okasek.
Rick Ocasek.
All right, we got it now.
Okay, I said Ocasek. It's Ocasek. Okay, Rick Ocasek. What the fuck ever. He's very wealthy, respected, and married a model. So, he's doing all right.
Good for him. He also was one of the pioneers of the massive...
Sorry, we apologize to Josh Scoggin. So I'm apologizing to you.
He was one of the, and I don't want to say original, but one of the pioneers of the gearhead movement in guitar playing. Like, he was one of the first guys to have like a huge, massive pedal set, and this was late 70s. Not a lot of people there just plugging into their amplifier.
No, I mean a lot of pedals even back then were homemade.
Yeah, and his were too. So, and they were one of the
pedal board of homemade pedals.
Not all of them, but he would make them and he would tweak them and stuff.
Cool.
Well, especially back then, if you can't buy what you want and you know what you want, why not just throw it together?
Yeah, I mean that really is pioneering. Like, you're creating a sound.
Yeah,
you're not sampling a sound. I want to reference sampling here a little bit. To me, it's applicable in, say, advertising, that kind of thing, and it can be done very well. But if you're creating a new song to share with people, create a new fucking song. If you're going to sample something, get your own sample. Don't go to another artist and be like, yeah, that was cool, I kind of like this, I'm going to sample some Neil Young in my new rap song. Fuck off. Are you kidding me? That pisses me right the hell off. Some artists are okay with it. They're like, yeah, that's okay, I don't mind them using it. They get paid royalties probably. But I think, who gives a shit? I don't want to listen to you profit off of somebody else's creativity.
Is there a rap song with Neil Young in it? Because I want to hear it right now.
I think there is.
I
think it's "Old Man, Take a Look at My Life."
Really?
Yeah.
No, they didn't rap over that.
Yeah, do it. Look it up.
When I was in college, Rihanna's SOS came out, and it samples "Tainted Love" by Soft Cell. So my roommates, unsurprisingly to anybody who knows me, I did not exactly fit in with your standard college girl crowd. So my dorm room, my townhouse roommates, that was how my college dorms were set up. They were townhouse strips. They were having a party, and you hear that da da do do, and I come out of my room like, what? And it's Rihanna. She's busting into SOS, and
I've never heard the song. I'm grateful.
If you hear it, you sing you sing Tainted Love over top. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Love.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then you want to watch the Coneheads.
Yeah.
So I can get behind that because nothing bums me out more than catching the sampled part of a song I like in a new song, singing along to the part of the song that I know is I don't know it's being sampled, and then hearing this other horse shit come around.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I would put it as the analogy of you go to eat something that you expect to be really delicious, and then you put it in your mouth,
And it's dog food.
like ugh, dog food. Yeah.
It all comes back to the stew.
And then it's Purina.
Puritan.
Puritan.
Oh, did I? I didn't even tell you guys about what Farley thought of the dog food.
Oh, I get it.
So when I had the meatballs and gravy before I had the other stews, I had run my finger along the top of the lid as it came off in my can opener, and I held it up to my dog, and she gave it a lick and looked at me and then just walked away while there was
Your
still
own
gravy
dog?
on my finger.
That's not a good sign.
The dog.
The dog wouldn't even
Either
eat it.
you feed your dog way too high quality of human food, or it's really that bad.
She hardly gets human food.
Yeah.
I mean, when
Maybe you feed her way too high quality of dog food.
we split it. We give her Iams, and then, because they make a large breed puppy, and she's a large dog, and you can feed it 1 to 24 months. And then we also give her a high quality, grain free alternate.
Isn't it stupid how grammatically incorrect that brand name is?
Iams?
IAMs?
IAMs.
I used to read a web blog called I Am So Cheap. I am so cheap that I recycle my laundry dryer sheets.
I am so cheap.
Does it give you neat ticks and trips?
It sort of does if
I
you
am
take
so
other
cheap.
people's confessions as tips and tricks.
I fill out all of my food with yams.
I am so cheap. I take all of my soap slivers and make them into a super soap.
Oh, these aren't tricks. These are just sad things people do.
Yeah. Just finish off the soap sliver. As a sliver of soap.
I'm sorry.
What if you want to have a mega soap though? Like,
sorry
what if
if
you
this is
only
something
use
you
it
actually do, Meg.
You should be sorry.
I can understand it. I don't mind. I think it's going a little far when people hang up their paper towel to dry.
I was gonna say
That's adorable.
That's going a little
Who's
far.
doing that?
Oh,
that show on TLC where they did
Extreme
the
Cheapskates.
extreme cheapskate. That is just
it's insane.
angering.
The one
That
guy,
show.
the one guy takes a bath in his hot tub, and I'm like, fuck. That's not even cheap. How can it be cheaper for you to? And then they reveal it. He never changes the water in his hot tub.
Oh, it is a.
But as far as he's concerned, it's sanitized because he adds chlorine every once in a while.
it's just a cesspool for
Just
disease. Ugh.
Just you know when you go to the swimming pool and you're in the hot tub and you're like, what's with it? How come there's so much foam and what's this kind of scum on the top of the foam? And then you learn that scum is like skin.
Is human waste.
I've never been in a foamy hot tub before.
Yeah, I have. So I used to go to the small town swimming pool all the time, and I'm pretty sure that their cleaning was not as well done as, say, our pool in this city, but we're on the ship. Fuck. When was the last time we referenced the ship?
Hey man, what we do in our interim lives is our own business.
Yeah,
The ship's
exactly.
not going anywhere. As long as someone can swing out every couple weeks to feed the oatmeal babies, we're fine.
Exactly.
When was
and
the last
besides,
time?
it's a living ship, so
Yeah,
it's
he's all right.
alive. You know how many sci-fi shows there have been with living ships? It all started with Lex. It looked like a dragonfly, and then now there's been. I think the ship was alive. Oh no, maybe it wasn't alive. In oh shit, what was that movie? Farscape.
That was a series.
Yeah,
Oh,
but-
was it both?
It was a series,
It was
and then
definitely
they
a
did,
series.
and then they did do a movie.
Oh, from
but it
the
was like
series?
a TV movie.
Oh,
yeah.
that's good. That was probably some closure
It
for
was
people.
it was a cool show, and then they did, but that ship was alive and integrated with the alien pilot, whose name was Pilot. Anyways, living ships. My best friend's girlfriend
Is that had a neat Fogerty riff in that one too?
Best friends, girl. Every track is so
Every
good.
track.
Every track is so good.
Even the ones that weren't radio hits were fantastic.
Don't you stop! Don't you stop! Don't you stop!
Like how I felt like that one was very classic-y new wave, because a lot of them I found myself expecting just can't get enough to follow it. That early Depeche Mode sound when they were the really new wave before they got a little bit darker and a little bit more gothy. Yeah, there was a lot of interesting. There was. How do I phrase that grammatically correct?
I've got tonight.
There was a lot of interesting mixes of tones and instruments and sounds,
So
and I think
creative, and the way that they use the left and right stereo to kind of mess with you, like we were talking about with that Depeche Mode album. Yeah, that was cool.
that was a solid
And
choice.
it's all so poppy. That's what I love too. Is like, it is unbelievably catchy poppy. Like it's
And
just
dynamic.
catchy poppy, but yeah, still good guitar work, still good use of instrumentals. It's not lacking in artistic integrity, even though it's
So sweet.
unbelievably radio poppy.
Yeah, which obviously panned out for them because, like we said earlier, it's an album of singles. It's an
It is.
album of singles. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine them trying to pick which ones they were going to use. Like, do you think the radio or like the record execs were sitting down and they're like, "This is the obvious single," or were they like, "Fuck, which one do we start
And
with?"
how does a band even do that? Like,
Does a band even do that?
I don't think bands usually do. I think
Is that
I think
not what PR and marketing is?
Yeah,
Well,
I think
marketing
the
more
record
than PR.
companies identify
but
it.
the band's gonna know. Like they're gonna know. Okay, this song is gonna probably
Some bands
be a
do.
hit.
Chevelle is a good example of that. Chevelle writes an album which is heavy and awesome, and then they usually have like one song that they know will get play on modern rock stations, but then the rest of the album is just like,
Legit, they're musicians.
it's so good. Yeah, like
Is it like the Offspring theory?
kind of. Yeah, a couple of bands do that. Chevelle, I think, does it better than the Offspring, because the Offspring just like makes a shitty song that's obviously
I think
unbelievably poppy, whereas
they're
Chevelle
obviously
blends it
playing-
in a little bit more.
I've only known one person who was really, I guess he was really into Chevelle. I don't know. And I find like I'd have to listen to their stuff more because I've got such a preconceived notion of what I expect of it, and it just makes me go,
They're one of those bands that you see a lot tour and play and get lumped in with a lot of those generic hard rock metal bands.
That's exactly how I would describe
They
them.
get lumped in there because they do the radio.
They play the game.
Yeah, they do play the game with like one track on the album. But then guys, I would say listeners who listen to their albums and understand the music appreciate Chevelle far more than the rest of the stuff is out there. My brother's quite a skilled guitarist, and I found it interesting because I always listen to Chevelle. I'm not much of a guitarist at all, remotely, and the guitar work, there are certain parts where it sounds complex, but the general, like the riffs, don't really. But then my brother, who is a skilled guitarist, he's like, I go to play them and it's hard to play. Like the riff sounds easy, but it's not. Like, yeah, it's not simple. They're not as simple a band as maybe their singles would indicate.
That's so interesting. Like I would really, I wish the person that I knew that listened to Chevelle doesn't live here anymore, and I know that he did play guitar. I don't know how well, and I would be interested to find out what that person's perspective is, being a fan and being maybe a beginner or intermediate guitar player, if that makes a difference. Because I've noticed in our conversations with music, you guys can have an entirely different level of conversation about music than I can, because I don't play anything. I'm a moderately acceptable / tolerable singer, and I appreciate certain aspects of music, but I don't have that musician kinship or understanding that you guys do, especially with some of the stuff that you pick, Aaron. It's just, I don't know, it's just fucking layered ass, distorted ass guitars. And you guys are like, oh no man, he's doing this really cool thing, and oh, can you believe the sounds there? And they must be using this plugin and these amps, and I'm just like, look, there's a kitty.
It's funny that you say that.
I just fucking love cats, don't you know?
It's funny that you say that.
How did I just notice
You
that?
didn't even notice?
I'm sorry.
If I could, I would get all of the cats laid out on one sofa, and I would just like like pimp out. Like I just fucking love cats.
That's why the
Okay?
cats were swarming you earlier.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
I should probably get a picture in this shirt with one of the cats so they know what we're fucking talking about.
You say that like I play instruments, but I actually...
But you know instruments, don't
Well, I
you?
know them because I sell them, which is funny because...
And they're usually
for example,
your music picks, though. That's the thing.
Today I sold a guitar to someone, and I played all 3 chords that I know, and they were like, "That sounds awesome."
And you blew their
it didn't
mind,
matter.
and
So,
they're like, "Play Freebird," and you're like, "No."
I don't do requests.
No,
I don't do requests.
Side story. I one time was at a lunch with friends at a bar, like a pub that had a live jam musician, and there was a table of about 15 of us, and at one point someone yelled out "Freebird," and the guy just blew it off, and then maybe half an hour later and several more drinks in, I yell out "Freebird." The guy stops playing his guitar and said, "Who said that?" And the table of drunks goes, "She did." Brother pulls me on stage and says, "You want Freebird? We're gonna sing Freebird."
Oh,
I will dig up the link. No. I had just watched the My Name is Earl episode where little Chubby decides that he shouldn't have his nuts because they make him a dick. So he goes in front of the automatic baseball thing, but Earl takes it instead. And that they have Freebird in that clip. So I knew the first like 3 lines, and then I went into this rant about Liz Lemon and Conan because Conan had just done his going away show where he played Freebird.
Yep.
So I'll make a note to look that video up. And
There's
you
a
guys
video of this?
There's a YouTube video of me doing
I
this.
absolutely need to see this.
All right, I'm gonna make myself a note to dig that up.
Definitely.
Speaking of My Name is Earl, you knew that Ben Foster was in that, right?
Of course.
In a cameo? Is it in an episode?
In a
or-
couple episodes,
He's in
I
a couple
think, because
episodes.
he's
He
in
plays kind of a recurring.
only a little bit. Like he's
little bit.
in jail, and then he gets out of jail in the Boy Scout uniform, and the point when he picks up the rock and he looks at himself in the Boy Scout uniform, and he puts the rock down, he has that same look on his face. He's a cut cloth.
Oh,
That's not the face that I was talking about. But
that's an
can
adorable.
you print screen that?
Yes.
Can you print screen that and
We
throw it
need
up on the
to
Facebook page, please?
Throw that up for people to see. People
We're
need
gonna
to know.
Facebook this right now. I love how.
Don't forget to hashtag 15.
What?
TH.
Yeah, if you only hashtag 15, it's number 15.
Oh.
But you have to put, and it's the 15th episode. Okay, so
I love how we reference upcoming episodes like 2 months in advance. People
got something
in
to
2
look
months,
forward to.
You guys are gonna look
No,
forward
see,
to seeing
I don't
this.
think that's a bad idea. I mean, I put the status as I edit the show as we record them. So I would think if we're lucky, someone's going to be like, what the hell is Je suis un ananas? Oh, it's episode 13. You're on episode 9. That's not too far away. I better keep tabs on these people till 13 comes up and I can figure out what the fucking ananas is.
It makes sense.
It is a French pineapple.
I don't know how to share this.
It's can you just send it to me externally and I'll take care of it.
I don't know how to do this.
Internally?
Externally. Do you have like a share external option?
I can.
Just text me the photo.
Oh, I can share it on the Facebook group.
It should be a page. Or a page.
I don't know. There you go. Try and do something with that. It's on our Facebook chat.
Thank you.
Okay, one quick thing. Fast times at Ridgemont High. But that song, The Cars,
Yeah.
iconic from this album.
What is it on Fast Times?
Moving in stereo, when she's coming out of the pool.
That
Oh, is that
scene
the
is
song
from
that they said?
Ridgemont? I didn't know that. I know that's an iconic scene of a girl coming out of the swim. I've never seen Ridgemont.
Oh,
I've never seen the whole thing.
it's a kind of a classic, I guess. Aaron would
I would
disagree.
say that it is. You don't think it's a classic?
He's busy right now.
I hear that.
I love that. Is that a guitar or is that a synth?
No, it's synth.
I always thought it was a synth, but
Yeah.
you're talking about how many effects he has. But it's a synth that has kind of a guitarish feeling.
Yeah.
It
Jeez,
does.
now you got me questioning.
You could
it,
play that
maybe.
easily on guitar.
Yeah.
Almost with like a slap, right? Play that on a bass. Slap bass that shit.
Oh, totally.
You could do it.
That would sound awesome.
But you could pull
Bass
a
cover
Motorhead
coming
and
up.
make your bass a little bit more guitar-y. That's what Lemmy did.
He did. He just crunched it up.
I fucking love Lemmy.
I'm challenging anyone who's listening to YouTube
We want to see
Post
that on
on
our
YouTube
Facebook
a
page.
slap bass of Moving in Stereo, hashtag Marthyth, hashtag slap bass, hashtag the cars, hashtag Moving in Stereo. Just hashtag the shit out of that and help us get some listeners. And you'll get some YouTube views too. Because we have, by the way, anyone who's listening, we have a boatload of listeners. So anytime you hashtag Marthyth, you're going to have so many, you don't even know, you're going to have so many people.
Totally, so
You're going to have
many.
so many people see your tweets. We're going to have so many people see your tweets. You don't even know.
So many people seeing your tweets.
You don't even know.
Oh my god.
What
you
is
guys.
it? I still don't know. Is it twitting? Are you twitting or are you twatting?
I thought you were tweeting.
We went over this last
You're not
time.
allowed to talk about twats when I'm around.
Man twats?
I've met some twatty men.
Chode?
That would have been. That
It was like that discussion
that was
in
a
junior
good-
high. What's chode?
What is?
Yeah, you're a chode.
No, I'm not asking you.
used to
People
call
are
it.
asking you what did
Well, you
chode?
didn't know, right? When a new word's introduced to you,
Oh, you're the one.
people are like, "You're a chode." I'm like, "Ah, fuck you, man."
And you
Man,
don't
what's
want
a
to be the
chode?
one who says, I don't know what that means.
You just got to start
You
calling.
don't
people
know? That's totally ridiculous. I mean,
You're so
you know,
dumb.
right? Yeah, you know.
You're such a dumb idiot.
That's what Urban Dictionary's for, guys.
Oh,
Now it is.
Urban Dictionary ballpark.
What?
Ballpark.
You want me to type that in?
I'll do
Yeah,
it.
I said to I was doing business.
Were you?
I was doing business with a business associate not a couple days ago, and I said, "Oh, is so and so ballparked me a number?" And he just started laughing. I was like, "What? What?" He's like, "Look at this, man!" And then he Urban Dictionaries me ballpark, and it's hilarious.
Frank? Ballpark me? Ballpark fatty?
Oh, I don't know. I thought you just said ballpark.
Ballparkin?
Ballparking? Man, there's too many of them. Ballparking.
Too late.
It's like one word.
The same general vicinity?
Yeah. Nope, go down. That's just like a dictionary definition.
Oh boy.
There you go.
I'm not reading that.
Okay, I'll read it. Get my mic here. Where are we here? The area between a female's pussy and asshole, where your balls are parked while fucking a girl missionary in the pussy or doggy style in the ass.
When Jim and I were double teaming Krista, he in her ass and me in her pussy,
Right.
we're trying not to have our balls meet at her ballpark.
And well, you're parking your balls.
We like to keep it classy here at Martha.
It's not a chode. It's a ballpark on a woman.
On a woman.
On a
I'm
woman.
glad that we get preferential treatment there.
On a woman, it's a ballpark.
Oh.
Go to the third one though. That one's pretty good too. Urban Dictionary is always fun. When they're oh wait a minute, I didn't see that one. This one has to do with a hobo.
Okay, no, I can do this one. I can do this one. Just give me a second. Ballpark. Definition 3. When there's a hobo sitting on the end cap of a parking lot, you're so fascinated by how poor he is, you forget to put on the brakes and your front wheel ruins his testicles. Hey Travis, you know the hobo sitting in Taco Bell's parking lot? Yeah, I totally ballparked that dude.
What the go down? Where's the one? It's gonna
A sexual practice?
no, that's not it. Where the hell is it?
Guys,
Whoa.
ballpark.
This
All right.
this was the other one that he showed me. A ballpark is when a female uses her ass cheeks to jack a guy off. It is referred to as a ballpark because of its visual similarities to a ballpark Frank hot dog held firmly within its bun.
In layman's term, ass tug.
There you go.
Oh, if you would have said that, I would have understood.
I don't know. So anyways, I said this guy was ballparking me a number, and he's like, ah, and then he showed me these. So that's how business meetings go for those of you not privy to business meetings.
I feel like this could have ended 5 minutes ago, and we would have been this much classier.
Hologram program deactivated.